Alright guys, that was the first row of the 2023 King of the Motos, second race of 3. I'm going right up the center here. I think that right line looked a little bit better, but I don't know, this seemed to go. Guess I got kind of lucky here, because I'm pretty sure I got first to the top in the second row here. Kind of gnarly doing that straight uphill climb and then drop down right into this sketchy downhill, because you get super tired and then you got to go downhill and hang on, picking up speed. Definitely a little bit sketchy, but I think it's a pretty cool start. This is the same start that they did back in 2020. So they did that mass start on the 2020 King of the Motos, but they kept us up top, I believe. And this time they dropped us down and sent us right up this canyon. Made a mistake there. I was going to try to squeeze around that guy, but you can see there's kind of a cliff edge on my left, and this is not how I want to start my race, pushing the bike. But we're getting back on track here, dive into this canyon, see if we can pick up some speed. So there's a lot of deep sand sections at the King of the Motos, and it makes the rocks pretty slippery if they get sprayed in the sand dust. So keep a note of that 4-stroke guy. He's in the 40X class, I believe, kind of the older class, but man, he's really good. I was going back and forth with him a lot in these races. You can see there's lines everywhere, but if you kind of funnel through, it seems like less energy. I don't know if it was worth taking some of those more risky lines. Maybe the pros were, but I was just trying to keep it easy and try to not blow out all my energy. Right in front of me, this is Brian Nelson. He's a local SoCal, I don't know what living legend. He does really gnarly rides out in the SoCal desert. Been on a couple with him, and it's awesome. He knows some crazy. He takes a lot of serious risks in his riding, and they're pretty extreme rides. So always stoked to get to ride with him. Never raced with him though. You can see the helicopter up above us. We're trying to make our way up to this top. And this is quite a bit steeper than it looks, and just really loose. I'm just spinning. And that 4-stroke's pulling. Don't see too many 4-strokes in hard enduro, that's for sure. But hey, he got up that hill good. Maybe there's something to it. Brian Nelson pulling ahead of me here. And now we're kind of on some of the single track that's just been burned in from previous years racing, basically. Made the mistake of not getting momentum for that hill climb and had to take the kind of wider, shitty line there. And now we're dropping in, but yeah, I wish I would have got on it more and then not had to go wide and slow down as much as I did. So here, that's kind of a wedge spot. So if you can see, I got my front tire high up, kind of wheelied into it, sort of like a float turn, to be able to squeeze the bike through it. If I would have tried to ride through it, the bike would have been too, it would have like clipped the foot peg and wouldn't have fit through as well. But if you get the bike on the back tire, it's a lot more nimble, and you can squeeze around and make sharper turns and get through narrower things, I feel like. So I kind of made the mistake. I haven't been racing in a while, and I definitely stayed behind this guy way longer than I should have. I mean, he's moving at a pretty good pace, but it was slower than what I wanted to do. And, you know, I should have given him a rev, let him know I was behind him, and was trying to get through, but I just kind of caught my breath and just waited it out for a while. You can see I'm just following him for a long time. Mistake of not being in the race scene for a while, but finally let me pass, so I appreciate that. Now the thing with this race is that it's another qualifier. So if you watched the other video, that was a really short race. That qualified you for the start position on this race. And now, whatever place you get here will help you with the start row of the actual race. So this doesn't count towards anything other than your start position. And this is a multi-hour race. It's going to be pretty long and pretty hard. So I kept telling myself, like, hey, don't burn yourself out. You know, it's like, as long as you get in the first or second row, which rows of 30 or 40 people, just need to be like top 60 or top 80 to get in the second row. But the problem is, you start doing these races and, oh, Brian Nelson down. You get into the race and everyone's just pushing, and you just it's just so hard to hold back, so hard to not push yourself, like, you know, and not, you don't want to crash like that guy who was backwards on the trail. You don't want to crash, you don't want to burn energy, you want to kind of save yourself a little bit for the next day, but you're just in these situations and you're like, I'm going, like, you're just in race mode. It's hard to be like, just do a ride, you know, just chill, even though that was my goal. So, not trying to be mean here, but I came in, I didn't know he was going to stop, and I was falling back and stuck in a situation, so just asking him to move forward a little bit so I could get up it, but appreciate that. Look how rough this terrain is. This is some really brutal terrain. It beats your body up. You're going left and right. You really need a really nice supple suspension to get through this stuff. And I think that was Dylan. That was Psycho Enduro in front of me. Yep. So he's a SoCal local. He's definitely ready to crush it this year in the race scene. This is his terrain, his type of terrain. He knows this stuff. He rides it really well, so he's going to do really good in this race, and overall, I'm pretty sure, just because he's got a lot of experience riding hard enduro on this stuff. He's a really good rider. So this is a really cool section. I like it. Starts getting slabby. There's some ledges here. Should have just wrapped off that thing, but took it a little easy. Look at this one. It's pretty cool too. A little on-off. I enjoy getting into some of the more slabby stuff. Takes a break from the really rough, abusive stuff, and you start to use a little bit more technical skill, kind of pivoting around and floating through it. So Brian Nelson, recovering from his crash, pulled ahead of me, and this is the Switchback zone. So I forgot to turn the GoPro back on. I knew I was going to be sitting for a while, but that was actually the most hectic scenario there. A little gel from the Trailbound pad pack. So yeah, the Switchback section, I didn't get into videos, but I definitely had some people landing on me. Like, there's people everywhere. Someone pushed out my tire. I fell on my buddy Ty, and it was just, yeah, that was a really slow section because it was very technical, and there was only like really one, maybe two lines, and yeah, that slowed the race up a lot for sure. You can see this is a pretty cool little wedge section. I didn't go for the right line, which is more of a zap undercut, but if any of you guys did it and did it successfully or didn't do it successfully, let me know that in the comments. It didn't look like a good line to me. The wedge line looked a little bit better, a little bit safer, even though it took a little time to kind of squeeze through. I don't think it took as much energy. So you really got to make those decisions, like what's going to use up more energy, and do you have the energy to spare to do the more energy line, which could pay off and be shorter, or could burn you out. So we're getting back to the backside of the race now, so backside of the mountain that this race is held on. Catching up to this B rider, I think this is that kid Braxton, who actually is doing really well in this race. So dropping down this canyon. So in this race I ended up getting 12th out of 43 people. So I got 43rd overall in the race. If I would have pushed a little bit harder to get that the row 2 spot, I think that would have been a big benefit to me, but we'll see, because he said he wasn't sure on the number of people per row, and we'll just find out tomorrow and see how it goes. Yeah, I'm still trying to finish up this race. We're starting to get in some gnarly downhills, which is pretty fun. You just kind of got to trust yourself and let the bike roll and not lock up the front brake, I feel like, because it's really easy to go over the bars on this steep stuff with all these rocks everywhere that just wedge that front tire. But as far as the pro class, the finishings for this, Tristan Hart ended up winning this by 4 minutes, and behind him was Will Riordan, then Cody Webb, and Cody Webb was 2 seconds behind Will. Cooper Abbott was 2 seconds behind Cody, and Ryder LeBlanc was 2 seconds behind Cooper. So they must have all piled it. It must have been Tristan Hart, 4 minute gap, and all those guys piled in behind him. So they're really close, neck and neck. And then 6 minutes behind that group was Corey Graffunder, James Flynn, and so forth. So it's crazy to see how much of a gap Tristan has, how much of a gap those pros like Cooper, Cody, Will have on everyone else as well. So there's multiple minutes behind these guys. So there's just a lot of skill and a lot of separation in these races with the pro class. So we're having a little bit of screw up here with the navigation. I ended up just following this guy. We had to get across. I think we're off the track a little bit, kind of went the wrong way, but we know we need to get to Hammertown, and you can see on the GPS that I'm getting back on track here. So coming up to that last mountain, just one little climb, not too bad, but we'll drop in and get into Hammertown, jump onto that GP course. But yeah, this was a cool race. You know, I think they could have got rid of the morning qualifier for this race and just did it by class, and then this would determine your row start for Sunday. I think that would have been a lot more fun, a lot less waiting around. But overall, I thought that was a really fun course. It looks like I came in 11th there. Yeah, overall, it's just a really fun course. It was I would call it like a flowy, hard enduro. I wouldn't say it was too. It was pretty hard. There was definitely hard sections. As an A rider, I'm sure it gave the B and C guys a lot of work, but I just thought it was cool that you kept moving, and it was 2 hours, so that was a good qualifier race. So overall, I think Justin did a good job setting this up, but tomorrow should be a lot harder and a lot more brutal. So I'm looking forward to that. It's getting on the bike a lot longer, and we'll see how we do. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Always, we'll see you out on the trail.